Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. And Leroy, you heard what we were just talking about. Do you agree with Jay that you could bring him back, or is that a catastrophe just waiting to happen?
I think you can come back. You ain't playing, but you can come back.
What would be the purpose of having him around then? Just asking.
Exactly. Look, he's going to get his money.
Yeah.
And I think at some point, for the well-being of everybody in the building, you can't keep having this Deshaun Watson thing in your locker room. Now, it's not a matter of, look, we don't like you, or we don't. It's just the issues surrounding you and your ability to play have sucked the life out of this franchise. And in order for us to reset and get our bearings, it might be better for our franchise to pay you and just say, go home. Or, we're going to cut you. Now, I'm saying that without knowing, I genuinely think that the people around on that field like Deshaun Watson. But after watching Jameis Winston's effect on the team, I think that these guys are going to start feeling like we need somebody like that leading us. Somebody who's going to have more of an impact.
Are you talking skill set or personality? The
both.
Gravitation to Jameis.
Both.
Yeah.
Listen, these last 5 weeks, and I told you to take 5 weeks, have been aggravating, exhilarating, fun, exciting. You know what it's been? Football. The last 2 years have been excruciating, painful, hopeful, and I think when you get a little taste of this, got a little bit last year with Joe Flacco. Even Joe Flacco wasn't this. I think you got to just say, look, we like where this is. It gives what Jameis Winston does that Deshaun Watson doesn't do. He gives you the ability to get someone and sit them in waiting and go out and learn how to play before actually being thrown into the fire.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he's a real bridge at 29 or 30.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Here's the problem that I have with all of this and all of us talking about it. The money is real. I don't care how much money an owner has. There's this thing called a damn salary cap. And here's the funny thing about it. Are they going to get to the point that Denver did?
You mean where they just told Russ to go home?
Yeah.
They have to, don't they?
I feel like that's the only option, Leroy. I think you're right.
That's a big hit. That's a big hit, though.
It's double. It's
you
double.
Got a lot of decisions. You got a lot of decisions you got to make. So
yeah, it's a big decision. But not to cut you off, I just want to jump in for a second, Leroy. Denver knew that until they ripped that Band-Aid off, they were not going to be able to move forward. And you can see the organization now where they're at. It's like a whole
Russ is in their rear
black cloud has lifted off the organization.
Yes. Yeah, and you know what? You said something that really made me think about it, Leroy. When they finally do it, I feel like it will be a day where the organization says, okay, that was a disastrous train wreck. We're still alive. It didn't kill us. Now let's move forward. I think until they get to that point where they just cut their hands and number 4 is no longer on the roster, I think that's the day the true healing and the rebuilding can begin because the questions are gone.
Here's what I would do. I would go to Jameis Winston right now and offer him a 3-year extension.
Yeah, I'm with
For
you. I've
a
said
number
that
of
too,
reasons.
but I get killed for it.
For a number of reasons.
Okay, go
For a
ahead.
number of reasons. One, the way this team responds to him, it gives them hope. Two, it gives you the ability to move on to something else that your team needs. You're not playing the quarterback game, which you've been playing the quarterback game for 15 years. Okay?
30.
It may not be the best option, okay? But if you don't have Deshaun Watson and Jameis walks,
Yeah, where are you then?
right. So I'm kind of looking at the long term of it. Like a lot of these young quarterbacks that the Browns have never had an opportunity to learn. They've just been thrust into the situation. So maybe Jameis gives you a chance to develop
I think
another guy or draft the guy.
Well, let me tell you. This is the thing I said, and I like Jay. I said you should do something with Jameis Winston now, right? Or at least consider and talk to him, because for me, I want my organization and the people that's in charge to make a decision. The thing I got right now, it looks like where's the leadership at? Where we gonna make? You got Deshaun Watson waiting in the wings. If you're gonna say we got to get him off the roster and he got to go home, well, let's go ahead and make the move and start moving furniture around. Stop sitting there like you don't know what you're doing. If you want to get Deshaun Watson, you say, hey, we don't want Deshaun Watson when he's not going to be on the team next year. You know what you have to signify is, okay, well, who's the leader? If you come out today and say Jameis Winston is the guy moving forward, we're going to work something with him, you don't have all that situation.
Well, I don't want to start a whole argument again. But
here's the deal.
Leroy, I would wait till the end of the year. There's no...
Yes, you don't have to do that right now.
Right,
Okay,
exactly.
But I would say at the end of the season, these decisions need to come rather quickly.
Sure.
And one of the reasons why is so Jameis don't leave.
You got to be talking now.
Well, yeah, but Leroy, the
They-
only
they
reason
could
that
be-
there's
they could
urgency
be
now is you don't want
talking-
him to hit the market. When he
But
hits the
they
market,
could
he can
be-
leave.
They could be talking right now. You just don't know.
No,
listen,
Leroy,
I'm
that's
all
what I'm-
for it.
There's
And
2
Leroy,
months between the end of the season and the market starting.
Right.
2 months.
And Leroy, your point was you would go to him and talk to him. That's my point. They
don't
even
know.
touched
They
on it a
could be
little bit Monday
talking.
night. They said,
They could be
there are a lot of
talking.
teams that are going to need quarterbacks, and Jameis Winston is looking pretty good right now.
Dustin made a great point, though, yesterday. He's not raising his stock.
No, I don't think that he's doing anything right now that's going to make him more valuable to other teams.
The
at this
400
point.
yards
He's gonna
passing
be-
and the 500 yards passing?
No,
Nothing.
I
Here's
mean,
what
the
he's gonna do.
interceptions are still there, and so his what people think about him hasn't changed at all.
You know what's interesting? The interceptions. I had a viewer that sent me this, and I was shocked. Does anybody know what Brett Favre's touchdown to interception ratio was for his
yeah,
career?
we
Yeah, he
looked it
was
up
the
yesterday.
worst.
It's
We used to- when we
1.5, and
played
that's where Jameis is.
Hey, when we played against Brett Favre,
Yeah, but
We
we talked
knew
about this
this.
yesterday. Is he won? Sorry, Leroy, go
we
ahead.
knew this, that at some point in the game, the DBs were going to get one. Mm-hmm. That's how you went into his games.
Right.
I have no problem. Look, and I look at Jameis like this. I know he had, and Jameis, I love you to death, brother. Jesus ain't going to help you. Don't ask Jesus. Don't ask Jesus about the pick sixes.
That was
It's
a very
on
funny
you.
line,
It
though.
was funny.
It was. Look.
Deliver me from
Lord,
pick sixes.
The Lord may have given you the skill to throw the football, but the Lord ain't telling you where to throw it. So I would say, with all this going on right now, the most important thing is to try to have some resemblance of structure moving forward. In the last 3 years, they brought Deshaun Watson in so they could have some structure, some consistency. Man, please, can we just give Stefanski the same quarterback for a whole year?
Yeah, no kidding.
No kidding.
Just see what it looks like?
Yeah.
We sitting here blasting this man. I don't know a coach that would have survived with this man that survived the last 2 or 3 years.
Leroy, I want to get to something else besides the quarterback. I want to talk some
Oh, the
running.
Michigan-Ohio State game? No, not yet. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, congratulations.
You deserve that. Before we get to that, though, I want your thoughts on Nick Chubb. Everybody loves Nick Chubb. Clearly, at the moment, he doesn't look like the same guy. He's a free agent. Like, he's on the borderline of, can he bounce? Is he too old to bounce back and get back to what he was? Maybe he's not too old. Maybe he's still got a year or two left of great play. A lot of guys coming off serious knee surgery, running backs. It's the second year that they get back to the player they was. Some guys don't. Like Dalvin Cook is just gone now, basically. And he had been great. Sean Alexander was great, gone. Todd Gurley, great, then gone. I mean, like for some running backs, they go over the cliff fast. And maybe that's what's going to happen with Chubb. When you see him, do you think another year? Do you think next year he could still be a top back?
Yeah. But here's what I hate about sports. And I hate this more than anything. These guys do everything they can to get on the field. Suck it up. Go out there, maybe not 100%, but they want to give their team, their organization, everything they have. And then you get graded on it. It takes a while for you to get back to yourself. Mentally, physically, it takes a while. Again, I'll bring up, Adrian Peterson had 2,000 yards when he came back. But does anybody remember he did it with a limp? Okay?
Which is crazy.
Right, which is crazy. Yeah. So I'm that guy works his tail off. We all know that. We've all seen him work. I'm going to give him a year or two.
Yep.
And I don't care how old he is. He earned that. Like, man, we wash our hands. Oh, he's done. He's done. Let me rip your knee up and then tell you to go play football in the NFL 12 months later.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it doesn't take that. You may be playing football, but you're not playing your football. So, like, relax on that, man. That's if there's one thing that really bothers me, and I never have a problem when athletes do this. When they say, I'm not playing until I'm 100%. You know why? Because of situations like this. Because of what people are saying about Nick Chubb.
If you're on the field,
right,
that means you're healthy.
Right, right. And people don't understand, like, yeah, man. Like, you sometimes you go out there and you go, man, and then wait. And then when you don't play, you know what they say? Well, give me 70%. 70% is better than what we have. And then you say he's done. It's over. We can't.
But wait a second.
Make up your day. Make up your mind.
To be fair, I don't think anybody's being critical of Nick. I think we all understand. I was unrealistic. I was unrealistic because I look at Nick Chubb as like a football playing god.
We told you.
I was unrealistic.
Me and this man told you all winter and all summer.
But I'm not. But
hold on. You had him up here. Yeah. You had 6 ACLs between two people. 6.
But you're responding as if I'm being critical of Nick Chubb. I'm not.
You know what? In a
just saying that
in a weird way, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they're being critical with kid gloves.
Right.
I'm not.
Right.
I don't see it that way.
Here's the narrative on it. We heard it Monday night. Here. He's just not the same guy. Well, of course he's not. His knee went through a wood chipper.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Here's why your questioning sounds like you're criticizing him. When you say, does he need more time to come back, or is he just done?
Because he always leaves a question trying to get you to take it somewhere.
Your opinion.
No, I worked this guy for a decade. So what he does is how he asks questions.
But just the way you ask the question is not even
all right.
Like you could ask a question that would say, "Hey, man, what do you think about Nick Chubb? Where is he? Is it going to take more time, or is this it?" Like you like to.
Hey, Leroy, I don't tell you how to play football, Leroy. Don't tell me how to ask questions.
That's fine.
I'm kidding.
But then
I'm kidding.
I know. But you understand that's sometimes the way people approach.
I hear you.
Him playing right now, that in itself indicates how they feel about him playing right now.
You know,
I mean,
but I would
for me, I was excited to see this man in a uniform.
I was too.
Because that was the first step to getting back to Nick Chubb. The first step.
Yeah.
He's not there yet.
Leroy, we got a second here. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
No, in all seriousness.
Hey,
He deserves it. Ohio State's a disgrace.
Can I just say this?
Here's a school that beat their rival this week.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this, and I don't know what the hell teams think sometimes. You got a half a quarterback. Michigan.
The quarterback stinks.
They fired their OC today.
Wait, when the white quarterback's in, you're more likely to get a pass. But we know when Orange's in, they run.
Yep.
And everybody in the world knows this.
And they couldn't stop
And
him.
you still couldn't stop them.
You don't even have to know football to know
Are
that.
we not going to By the way, are we not going to acknowledge that the guy's name is Orgy?
Yeah, we all sort of know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I don't pay close enough attention to college. I'm like, is he saying? I'm watching the game. I'm like, because I hadn't watched Michigan play all year.
right.
I'm like, is he saying orgy?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
What is happening
That's
here?
Jay.
So and here's the other thing about Ohio State that has been amazing. Early on in the season, y'all were talking about how bad Howard was, right? And then it just kind of went away because they were blowing these teams out, and then they handled up on Indiana, right? Which is a whole nother conversation. But he was still the person y'all thought he was. So, like, you just didn't have the situations where college is weird in that you playing these tough games and you playing these physical games, and then you see how your players react and whatever.
Yeah.
And then you have a couple of easy games and you figure, oh, he's growing. It went away. No, he just haven't been in that situation again. And then when they played against Michigan, he had a little more heat on him, a little more pressure. You couldn't run the football, so you had to rely on your quarterback, which you had questions about all year. So I don't know why anybody was shocked. I was absolutely shocked that the score was what it was.
Last thing, I thought that, I said this Monday, Wink Martindale is the reason they won that game. I thought their defensive scheme was perfect, and you know why he's not just a good good defensive coordinator. He was a great defensive coordinator at the NFL level. This guy knows how to look at an offense and say, oh, I can stop that. And he did it.
Right. He did it. He stifled them. And I personally thought, and I was waiting for it, that, listen, Ohio State has more talent than Michigan. When are they going to start big boying us? When they're going to start out-talenting us?
When you guys stuck the flag at midfield, that's what it took to get them angry. And that's the problem with this team.
Let me tell you something. And I'm going to say this. I laughed. I thought it was hilarious that they tried to do that because that's their season.
Sure.
Okay? That's their season. But I will say this. When people ask me, oh, that's classless, that's not a, I say, you know what? That sounds like a sore loser. Because
Agreed.
guess what? When they asked Woody, why you went for 2? And he said, I couldn't go for 3. Wasn't nobody fist fighting.
That's right.
You know what we did? We licked our wounds and we came back. That's what a rivalry is.
Sure.
And that's the way it's over. Now you want to fight? So I get it. Maybe it wasn't the base. It's not something that I would do. Okay? It is not something I would do. Nor would I suggest anybody do it. But the fact that somebody did, and then you use more energy than you did during the game to come and get that flag looks poorly on you.
Sure. Where was that fight for 3 hours?
That's right.
Right.
Thanks, Leroy.
Leroy, we got to go, man.
All right.
See you later.
Congratulations again on the win. In all seriousness.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Very impressive.
I don't feel like I won anything.
Well,
but
you know what?
that's
You
okay.
can watch Ohio State in the playoffs, and we've got that.
Not very long.